Well, it's official. Let's get started. Welcome to the 2024 Regenerative Legacy Summit. My name is Jared Sorensen. I'm your host here today. My wife Selena and I ranch in northeastern Nevada. I am zooming in from our bedroom, downstairs guest bedroom in our home in Clover Valley, Nevada. That is located in northeastern Nevada. We're close to the Utah-Idaho border, about as far away as you can get from Las Vegas and still be in the same state. So we are high desert. We're not as cold as some of you guys. We're not as warm as the Bahamas, but it's snow covered and chilly, and we've had about 5 days of blizzard last week, and so we're grateful to see the sunshine. We are grateful. Whatever brings you here, our desire is to serve you at the highest level, to be able to help you in your path to regeneration. As we get started here today, as we often do here with Ag Steward, if this is your first time to one of our events, I know we've had over 500 people that have registered. Not everybody's going to be able to be here all the days or be able to be here live. We do have a replay option for those that aren't able to stay for the whole time, and we'll talk about that. But this is amazing. It's humbling to see where you guys are from. Continue to put in the chat where you're from, and let us build this community, get to know each other while we're here together. At Ag Steward, we kicked off a year ago and we did one of these summits with the same caliber of speakers, a little different topic. Last year, we talked about profitable regeneration. And this would be phase 2. This would be building the legacy business that lasts 4 generations to come. So as we kick this off, we're going to start here with a prayer. And I've asked my friend, our colleague, he works and lives on the ranch for us. He has his own business, and we're grateful to have him here. I've asked William DeMille if he would please give us an invocation and a prayer to start off this meeting today. William, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you. Our Heavenly Father, we're grateful to be gathered together from all over the world to understand principles of agriculture and hear the great lineup of speakers we have. We ask you to bless the technology, that it will work correctly, that we all may be edified wherever we come from. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. Thank you, William. William is a great man. He's helped us in our journey of becoming truly regenerative, and we'll get to know him a little bit later. So as we get started here, yes, please continue to type in the chat where you're from. The next step is we invite you to let us know why you are here. Simon Sinek says start with why. So as we begin, this is going to be as interactive as we could. I wish we could all sit down and gather in one of our buildings here on the ranch, and we could rub shoulders with each other, shake each other's hands. But this is the second best thing. I'm grateful for this technology that allows us to be able to interact in this way. So interaction, this is going to be the best way that we can learn. And so take out some paper. If you have the ability, I hope that you can be fully immersed and involved here. So take out some paper or open up your phone. Don't text. Open up your phone and write down your intentions for joining this. What you hope to get out of here. Okay, so we're going to pause and we're going to do that. 1, 2, 3 intentions. At least one thing that you want to get out of this 3-day summit. We honor your time. This event is free, but we know that your time is valuable. And we intend to deliver on that value as if you had paid $2,500 to be here, because I see that easily that's what this summit is worth, probably more than that. So yes, the next step is let's type in the chat. So navigate to that chat box. Usually it's down at the bottom of the screen. I don't know why I've got these lines going on here, but usually it's down at the bottom of the screen, and type in what your intention is. We're going to ask you to do that a lot, to use that chat box, to be able to share, because when we share, we learn twice, and it helps other people to be reminded of maybe something that we missed. So find the chat box, type in, and our team is making note of this. As we've looked over the list of people who have come and joined this, and we've looked over the list of those that are participating, we've prayed about it. We've pondered about how can we best deliver the message that you all need to hear. And writing in what your intentions are, that helps. Maybe it won't come from anything that any one of the speakers say. Perhaps it will come from something that one of your fellow classmates says. One of those aha moments that they share here in this chat box. So please go ahead, type in the chat box what your intentions are for our meeting. Very good. So July 17th, 1996, we began a journey. My wife Selena and I were married. And as the story goes, we lived happily ever after, right? And here we are. Do the math. July 2023. I think that's about 27 years later. We're going on 28 years of marriage. And and now we have 9 children. We've got 2 grandchildren, 1 on the way, and we have just been extremely blessed. And along that way, we've learned some things. We've been able to come to know some great individuals. So when I was, right after we got married, I got married when I was 21 years old. We were very young. My wife was only 18. And thank you, by the way, for putting in there. If you're listening to the recording, do the same thing. I mean, follow right along, do the homework, write your intentions, share them with somebody. This is awesome to see these things going in. I'm not monitoring it because I'm staying close and focused here, but my team is. So we got married when we were 21 years old, when I was 21 years old. When I was 23, my dad said, asked my wife and I, my wife's name is Selena. We had just had our first child, little boy, Justin. He was born in 1998. And my dad asked us if we would be willing to take over management of the ranch so he and my mother could go and serve a mission in Mexico. And we were just like, heck yeah, absolutely, sign me up. This is what I want to do. And so they left the ranch, multi-million-dollar ranch, big cow herd. We were managing over 500,000 acres at that time. Employees that were 3 times my age, in some very competent hands of a snot-nosed kid who knew a lot about the tactical things of ranching, but knew very little about the business side of ranching. And so throughout those next years and now decades, I've come to learn some things from the very expensive school of hard knocks, but I've also been blessed to learn from some great individuals. Today, our sponsor is Ranch Management Consulting, Ranching for Profit. And that was the start of my journey. When I was invited to go to the Ranching for Profit school, met Dave Pratt and immersed myself for 7 days in what even wasn't known as regenerative agriculture at that time. But that's what the essence of it was. He was teaching us how to build a strong foundation for a business that was profitable now and generations into the future. And because of that experience and that immersion in that school, which I highly recommend, if you haven't been to it, check it out. As Wally Olson said next week, put it on your to-do list. If you haven't already signed up or gone to the school, when this is over, jump on their website, get on their waiting list, sign up for a school. Because it was so transformational for me and for thousands of other ranchers throughout the world, but specifically throughout North America. Because of that one decision to go to that school, I was blessed to meet and work with some great individuals like Bud Williams, who had a tremendous impact upon me and my family in teaching us principles of stockmanship and marketing. And above that, principles of how to live a good life with purpose, how to be able to engage in that. And we had an amazing journey that was filled with trials, struggles, disappointments along the way, but also we were able to experience some success. And one of those successes is now, as I've begun this business of building Ag Steward, I'm starting to see that all the things that I've learned along the way, the successes and the failures and the mentors, the good times and the bad, those were all there for a purpose, to be able to help me to help you. The things that I learned were not only for me and for my gain, but now I have the opportunity to be able to pay that forward. And see, as I think it was Steve Jobs says, we can't connect the dots in the past. We can only connect, let me rephrase that. We can't connect the dots in the future. We can only connect them in the past. And so while we're in that messy middle, sometimes it's hard to make sense of what we're going through. Sometimes we think, why? Why do I have to go through this? Isn't there an easier way? Well, let me tell you, we're going to get an education. And education is not optional, but we get to choose the way that we get that education. We can learn from others and their successes and failures and mistakes and insights and inspirations, or we can pay the expensive tuition of the School of Hard Knocks. I've done both. There is no substitute for experience, right? You can't learn to ride a horse from the ground. At some point, you're going to get on, and if you get on, you're probably going to get bucked off. But you're going to learn. You're going to learn from all of that. And here today, in these next 3 days, as you guys are here and you're immersed in this experience, I invite you to be all in, to learn. Whether there's things that motivate us. The psychologists say pleasure or pain motivates us. We move away from pain and we move towards pleasure. But let me invite you to tap into a higher P if we're doing alliterations, and that's purpose. Pleasure and pain are fleeting. Purpose is the thing that keeps us in the fight when things don't look good. Purpose is the thing that will help us to pay the price to learn, whether it's through experience, whether it's through education and paying somebody else, whatever it is, we will learn if we're tapped into what our purpose is. And we hope that we can help you with that. So as I connect those dots in the past to now, I can more clearly see the vision for the future and the opportunity that we have to be able to be a catalyst in this regenerative movement. It's not just a buzzword, you guys. It's not just a marketing ploy. Regeneration is necessary. We cannot sustain and continue to degrade the soils of the world. No civilization has outlasted land degradation. Are we going to be the exception? At some point, the chickens come home to roost. At some point, nature has the last laugh. At some point, we will pay. But we needn't go broke in the process. And that's our message to you. As we build this foundation for this legacy business, whether you're started in business or not, these principles will apply to you. You're here for a reason. I'm here for a reason. Let's engage in this, no matter what that reason is. Whether you manage millions of acres or you own no acres, you are all here for a purpose. Tap into that purpose, engage in it, immerse yourself in it. To be effective here, I invite you, as we generally do, we're going to establish some rules so that we can be safe, so that this can be an effective learning space, so that this will be a place of transformation over these next 3 days. We have prepared, myself and our fellow presenters. We've thought, we've prayed, we've practiced. We've been practicing our whole lives for what we're going to deliver here in these next 3 days. And we need you to do your part too, right? Learning is a transaction. We will offer, you have to buy. Buying means that you buy in. And so we invite you here to, first of all, show a high level of respect. That respect is shown by, you might differ from our opinions. Let's disagree agreeably. Let's keep the chat and any interaction G-rated. If my family walks in, I don't want to have to worry about having to mute something or someone. And we are going to do it. We're going to be a family-friendly place of learning. The next one is 100%. Again, we've prepared. We're here. We're 100% in. And we ask you to be 100% in. What does that look like? That looks like just what you're doing right now. Like jumping in that chat, sharing what you've learned. At the end of each presentation, I'm going to invite you to share an epiphany. Epiphany is that aha, that thing that, holy cow, I didn't know that. I've got to share this. You don't have to wait to the end of the presentation. You can share that. The chat box is a way to be able to remind ourselves and remind others of the principles that we're learning here. And then the third thing is to be present. Like, I know we all suffer from distractions. My phone is buzzing off over here. The team is taking care of people that may be trying to get in, I have to say and even turn that thing over. It's on silent mode and say, I'm going to be here for you. And we ask that you be here, not for us, right? But for yourself. Play full out, be present for yourself. Also, there's going to be down at the bottom, there's going to be like the reactions button, and get familiar with that. So right now, we'll just do a quick poll. How many of you, so if you can find that, you raise your virtual hand. How many of you come from a livestock production background? Like what you're in livestock production. Okay, very good. So see how that works, and we can see those hands go up. That helps us again to be able to see, okay, man, do I need to tailor my message? If I'm going to talk about integrating livestock and there's no livestock producers in here, well, maybe I better change up that message just a little bit. And I know who we're talking to. This is just practice, right? Okay, so very good. And then somehow, maybe you've got to do it. Maybe the team knows how to do it, but lower everybody's hands. How many of you are in row crop production or some type of farming, forage, row crop? You're here to learn about crop production. And maybe how many of you do both? Both, very good. Row crop, alfalfa, grass production, and bison, very good. Okay. And how many of you are just excited about regenerative agriculture? Like you're here because you want to learn, because you believe in the cause. Hopefully everybody's hand goes up, right? Again, it's way more than just a buzzword. Thank you all for your participation. That's what we want. That's what we hope for. Again, if we were sitting down in a room, it would be more interactive. Let's do the best that we can. Okay, so 3 rules. Respect, 100%, be present. All right. So everybody who can, if you're not driving, require 2 hands, and commit. I will do this for the next 3 days. I will be present. I will have 100% respect. Let me say that again. I will be respectful. I will be here 100% and I will be present. Very good. Thank you for that. Because if you do that, you're going to get the most out of this experience. And that's our goal for you. Okay, we're going to talk about, before we jump into our first speaker, because I want you to get the most out of this experience. Again, I don't know why there's all these lines across my screen. If you guys can see that, forgive that. We're going to talk about a method that I've just recently learned. How many of you would like to learn faster? Anybody? You guys okay? So remember, learning is not a passive, it's not a spectator sport, right? Thank you. You guys are raising your hand. Yeah, you're in. Okay, yes, fast, absolutely. Right? In school, there's a lot of things I could say about school. Probably not many of them are positive, so I won't. But there's different ways of learning. The way that we like to learn is called a whole brain learning. We incorporate our left brain, our right brain, our body, our mind, and our spirit, right? That is the way that we learn. When we learn a principle and that's accompanied by an emotion, that gets transferred into our long-term memory, okay? And so what does that mean? We all know that about trauma, PTSD, whatever it is. If you're in an accident, there was an experience, a thought, you had an emotion, that triggers something that is long-term. That's not only true for negative, it can also be true for positive things. And we label it negative when maybe it's not even negative, it's just there. But you know, how many of us can remember our wedding day, the day that we held our first child, or each of our children? It was an experience coupled with an emotion. And so that's what we want to be able to simulate here in this learning experience. So a way to be able to do that is to incorporate, you do the work of this fast learning. So this seems what we're talking about learning, and the first step is to forget. So let's just figuratively, let's take out your journal. Let's open up to a clean page, and I'm not going to ask you to do this because this would take a little bit longer, but let's transpose those things that you've learned, everything you know about regenerative agriculture, ranching, building an agriculture business. Let's infuse it upon this page. And we're going to say, okay, this is all that I know about agriculture. And now that you've done that energetically, maybe not physically, right? We didn't take the time, but we're going to rip that page out of the book. We're going to neatly fold it up. And we're going to open a drawer and we're going to tuck it in. And we're going to close that drawer. And for the next 3 days, I'm going to invite you to forget the things that you know. Again, why? You guys are probably fighting back on this. I did when I heard this principle, but when we run up against our paradigms, what we think we know, it doesn't leave room for new information. It's not what we don't know that hurts us. It's what we think we know that isn't so. And so if we incorporate this first principle of saying, okay, I'm just going to forget it for now. I can go back to that drawer. I can pull it out after. But for now, I'm going to create space to be able to learn. So number one, somebody type it in the chat. What does the number one F stand for? Very good. Forget, right? Forget. So this is an acronym. A is active. So we've talked about that. Become active. What does that look like? That looks like taking notes. It looks like being all in. It looks like sitting up in your chair. It looks like being present, like we've committed to do. It looks like keeping your mind from wandering, right? When it starts to wander, sometimes you need to like have something that triggers you so that you come back and you're present. Okay, so number two is, go ahead and type that in the chat. This is the way, write it down. Active. And number three, we need to manage our state. What do you mean by state? Right? What does that look like? That means, again, this is a whole brain learning. We manage our mind, we manage our emotions, we manage our actions, our physical part of it, and even strive to manage how we feel spiritually. Okay, that is our state. So this is a state. Does this look like a state of learning? Hopefully you guys can see me okay, right? Maybe not. Like that might be a state of like, I don't know about this, right? And you don't have to accept everything as gospel truth here. But what we invite you to do is to manage that state so that you can get the most out of this experience. Again, so that's the way we manage our mind, even our body, because our body reinforces what our mind does. And then trying to incorporate those emotions. So that is our state. So number three is, go ahead and type that in the chat. Write it down in your notes. State. And prepare to teach. When we are learning to teach, we learn the fastest. Learning is accelerated, right? And when we teach it, we realize the holes that we have in our learning. So even in teaching this right now, you know, I've practiced it, but I haven't taught it to anybody yet. And so there's things that I'm like, that didn't quite land the way I thought it did when I rehearsed it in my mind, or when I spent that windshield time driving and I taught this principle to my truck. So practice teaching it. That is the first. So FAST, forget, active, state, and teach. Thank you. Thank you for typing that in the chat. This is the way to be able to learn the fastest. Okay. So I invite you, the 3 rules: learn fast. And many have asked, okay, how can I continue this journey of learning? This is a free event here. We have a pretty awesome opportunity to be able to continue this learning journey. And we're going to talk more about this, but I know that some people are like popcorn. They pop in and they pop out. And we see that here, you know. So if you're just joining and this is the only time you have and you want to learn more and get lifetime access to this event, plus an additional 2-day event that we are doing, you go to events.agsteward.co. Okay, so somebody from the team can type that in the chat. Go ahead, you're going to see a price on there. There's going to be a discount code. This is a $2,500 event coupled with the bonuses that we have. But because you're here on the summit and you're playing full out, we invite you. And one thing I didn't say about playing full out. So we have trollers in the room. They're positive ones, they're good ones. So people from our team are watching. And they're looking for people who are playing full out. They're looking for people who have their cameras on, who are interacting in the chat, and we're going to reward those. So we've got some of the presenters are doing some giveaways and things. There's some free things that will be for all of you. And again, we're going to put that in the chat here after Dave Pratt speaks, who's up next. But also we're just going to do some drawing type things. So be sure as best you can. I know sometimes you guys are out working, and I completely acknowledge that. I've listened to many Zoom meetings and many things when I'm on a tractor, on a horse, and cell phone service. But as you can, we hope that you dedicate this time, you turn your camera on, you commit to this experience. So we'll talk more about this event, but we just wanted to mention it here. So it's www.events.agsteward.co in case anybody doesn't have the ability to see it on the chat or see the video. And welcome to the 2024 Regenerative Legacy Summit. We are excited to host this. I am honored, I'm humbled by the response that we've had from the individuals who signed up here.